supposed to be watching on TV, not out the window. And of course, well, we invited our senior class. It is a special night for us, not only because of the guests that we have, but we're just so glad to be back at school and to have events like this. St. Genevieve is a national school of character. For those of you who don't know, we're very proud of it. In this series that we do here, we call this a Character Education Speaker Series. And as I said, typically we're all in the gym for this, and it's a large, electrifying crowd. So we're going to try to be electric here outdoors. Before we begin, I thought it would be nice for you to meet some of the guests who are here in the audience. Let me grab this microphone. Marlon, are you ready to introduce your crew?
First of all, welcome everyone. Welcome tonight. I've had the pleasure of sitting this evening with two of our guests. First is our guest speaker's wife. Her name is Angela. If you would like to stand, Angela. Welcome. And an interesting tidbit is her mother was a teacher here at St. Genevieve in the late 60s. She was also a nun for a while, which was really, really neat to find out about that. So welcome, Angela, welcome. And our guest speaker's brother, Curtis Johnson, who is a 1984 graduate of St. Genevieve, and Mr. Van was his algebra teacher. Mr. Van, you said that was your first year, right? So Curtis, how was he?
He was electrifying, as good as he was then. I'm sure he's even better now. He was an amazing teacher. We loved his class. So.
Woo, Mr. Van, all right. Well, welcome to both of you. Welcome back to St. Genevieve.
Thank you, Marlon. I'm already off script because I was supposed to wait until middle school choir had taken their places before I started the show. So while we're introducing all these, come on, take your places. Middle school's going to do a number for us tonight. So come on over and take your places while Vince O'Donoghue. Vince, where are you? You want to introduce your crew?
Thank you, Mr. Horn. Well, good evening, everyone. Ms. Tran and I have had the pleasure of being with our other set of guests tonight, and the two guest speakers, I guess we could say, they'll be introduced by Mr. Horn, but they have four guests with us tonight, and we've had a great time just getting to know them and welcoming them to our Valiant family tonight. So first, we have from Norwalk, California, we have the sister of one of our guest speakers and the niece of granddaughter, of one of our guest speakers. So we have Kay Pettit and her husband Mike. So Kay and Mike, please welcome. And in the small world of education, Kay works for one of the school districts and she's an educator too. So we talk some educator shop. So nice to see you tonight. Welcome, both you and Mike. And then our two of our guest speakers, our guest speaker's brother, and actually uncle of our other guest speaker, right? I'm getting this right. Are with us tonight, all the way from Hemet, California. So if you can please welcome Les and Donna Lakely. Les is a brother, and of course Donna is his lovely wife. And I know our guests also have many people watching from home, so we welcome them here tonight, and we're just so happy to have you. It's been really great to spend some time with you, so welcome.
Thank you, Vince. And Mr. Hasso, I think you've got a guest you would like to introduce to us, yes?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Horn. So, hello, everyone. My guest is Mr. Doug Cooper, who is the Executive Director for the Catholic Education Foundation. And the Catholic Education Foundation is a foundation that really supports Catholic schools, but most importantly, they really support St. Genevieve. So I want us all to give a warm welcome to Mr. Doug Cooper.
Thank you. Doug, I'm grateful you accepted our invitation. Thanks for being here tonight. I think it's going to be a good one. We'll find out. Now, middle school, I know I put you on the spot this week. You weren't sure you were ready, but you're ready now.
Ready?
Okay. Because usually we start out with something a little religious, so we can count it as our prayer.
This will be a prayer.
Okay. And the name of it is marvelous. And how does it sound marvelous? Do you sound marvelous? Yeah. All right. Well, let us be the judges. Ladies and gentlemen, the middle school choir of St. Genevieve. Thanks, everybody. That was under the direction of Mr. David Espana. David, you want to wave one to everybody? All right. So why are we here tonight? Well, what was the date of this email? Oh, it was May 25th. That Kim James wrote to our office manager. And this is what her email said. Good morning. I hope that you can entertain my request, as it is likely an odd one for you. I also would truly appreciate if you could pass this along to whomever at your school might be able to offer me any suggestions if necessary. I have been searching for Craig C. Johnson for many years now, as he swam across the Owens River in Big Pine, California, to perform CPR to my grandfather, who had just suffered a cardiac arrest. Craig was 16 at the time and a student at St. Genevieve High School. That was in April of 1981. And while my grandfather ultimately did not survive, Craig's amazing heroics kept him alive long enough to give my family the opportunity to travel to the area and see him prior to his passing. Craig's actions meant everything to me, and we have all been eternally grateful. Due to all of the commotion surrounding the situation, my dad did not have the presence of mind to thank Craig personally, and he too hopes to send along his deep gratitude. Finding Craig to thank him and to let him know just how much his decision to help has been very important to me for quite a number of years. It's 40 years this year. Searching has not been easy. I am a family history researcher and am able to find very little contact information on him, which is good because that tells me that Craig is still living. I understand that this request for help is beyond bizarre for you, so any ideas and help from anyone on campus would truly be appreciated. And here's how I can be reached. Well, I'd like to introduce to you the author of this letter and her father. Valiant, let's welcome to our campus Kim James and her father. We're going to have you come up on stage. We're here to help. Well, here you are, and we welcome you, and this is a happy night for us because we are so excited that you're going to be able to meet Craig here tonight. And now Craig, we have all the way over on the other side of campus at the elementary schools because we wanted to make sure that they didn't meet ahead of time. And if you don't mind, Jim, could you account for us your memories of that day? Maybe hold it a little bit closer.
We were fishing on the east side of the Owens River, and he had just caught a fish. He was a little bit above me on that creek, but he just caught a fish. He held it up, proud, and kind of bragging more than anything else. And all of a sudden he collapsed. And I have no training in things like that. We could not help. We went to him and did what we could do. So we started screaming across the river. Help, we need help. And this young man, without regard for anything, just sprung into action, jumped, swam across the river. It's a very fast river, it's very treacherous. He swam across and gave him DCR or PCR. And he got him best he could till the help came with the ambulance and firemen. And he then for my life, for my daughter's life, he just kind of disappeared. We never had an opportunity to thank him for his courage, and this is what he did as a young man, because he was just a 16-year-old boy. And you know how we think of 16-year-old boys today, especially a man my age. So it's just a wonderful thing to be able to meet him and thank him for what he did. He gave us some more life in our family. We're glad to thank him for that.
So just so that we have a full picture, who was it? Just you and your father that were fishing?
We have another son-in-law that was fishing with us,
Okay.
and we was looking for help, and he came to help us. I mean, he was there without regard. I mean, he just jumped in the water and started swimming.
And now, Kim, you obviously you weren't there, so you heard about it. And when did you start your search for Craig?
Well, always it was in my head. Like I can't explain why, but it never left. for 40 years, it just never left. Of course, when I had children and we were involved in extracurricular stuff from school, it wasn't in my head all the time, but it always came back to me. And when my kids were out of the house and I was really doing a lot of family research, that's when I got a little more serious into looking at it more. But I always had his name and the information, which was just his age and the school, on my computer desk underneath my computer. So I saw it every time I sat down there. Just every now and then I would just pick it up and get back in and look. And I did find he was married, so that's where I was going next, was, okay, I'm going to search the wife. And maybe I can find her and then find him. And that's when I sent the letter to Jose. And then, I mean, I can't tell you all how important this is to my family. And for y'all to do this it's just amazing.
Well, I just want to express my gratitude that for you to agree to have this reunion in front of our students, because I think this is going to be a lesson that you will remember all of your lives. We're about to meet a hero. And a night like tonight, I hope you soak it in, because every once in a while we have moments in life when we know that we'll forget about a lot of things that happened to us, but this is going to be one of those nights that we will remember forever. And so I thank you for agreeing to do this. Although I am curious, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, Mrs. Johnson, but when did you learn about this? Oh, so he did tell you about it. She said when we were dating. Because when I talked to him on the phone, he said, "Oh, they don't need to thank me." And I'm like, "No, they really want to say thank you. Well, it really wasn't that big of a deal." I said, "You swam a river. It wasn't that big of a river." So I haven't met him yet either, other than on the phone. So I'm but he sounds like a pretty humble guy. Very humble. Okay. Well, shall we? Are you ready? Yeah. Are you ready? Yeah. All right. So here's how we're going to do it. Because I put another choir. I put the middle school choir up, a teacher on the spot this week. But I also put, because we always like to have a little music during these assemblies. And since he's going to be coming all the way over from the elementary school, we thought, well, we'd have some songs, some music. So I asked the high school teacher, "You guys working on anything?" And you know what song he said? And this was not planned, but you all had been working on a song called, what's the name of the song you've been on? Bridge Over Troubled Water. How perfect is that? And so I said, "Well, how does it sound?" "Oh, it's not ready yet." "Oh, it won't be ready for a couple of weeks." This is on what, Monday we talked about this? Tuesday? Monday? And so we don't know how it sounds. Oh, okay. Well, I was going to have them sing after. Sure, right now? Yeah. Okay. Good. When I'm done, they're going to sing and he's going to come. So say what you need.
Well, I think it struck Ms. Tran and I when we were sitting in there, when we were talking about, Mr. Horn talked about they're going to sing Bridge Over Troubled Water, and Mr. Horn left, and Kim shared something about that I think is, again, talking about the Holy Spirit working. Could you share that real quick, Kim, before we sing?
The song, "The Bridge Over Troubled Water," was a song that it was a very important song to my mom, who passed a few years ago. And my mom picked up this song. I mean, we all knew it from the radio and whatnot, but my mom associates this song with the gentleman that was up in Big Pine Creek. When we were up there, she heard this guy playing it, and it was just, a geologist. He sang this, or he did this song. And so for you guys to be singing it, my mom is here.
It's a little pressure on you guys, right? All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going, because Ms. Allen's over with Craig, and I told her, do not bring him until the music starts. We want it to be a dramatic entrance. When I invited Kim, I said, I want to do this in front of all the students, and she said, that's fine, but there might be a lot of blubbering, and I said, the more tears, the better. We want you to bring out some emotion in people. And so as soon as the music starts, Ms. Allen, they're over there watching it on live stream. Once the music starts, Craig's going to come up on stage. You guys keep singing. They're going to have their reunion, and after the song, we'll have a chance to talk to Craig. Okay? That's how this is going to go. Let me put the microphone back in place. Ms. Allen, don't come yet. Wait till the music starts. Are you ready, choir? Oh my goodness. Are you ready, choir? Yeah, we need some volume on this. We only do so much, so we want to hear from you. All right. Let's meet Craig.
Tell me when.
your day's work. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the stage Mr. Craig Johnson, a valiant hero. He's coming back home to St. Genevieve. Welcome home, Craig. The Valiants are glad to have you back. We are inspired by you. I'm just curious, because I couldn't hear what you were saying. Do you mind sharing with us what your first words were? Do you remember? Do you
The
mind
part that
sharing?
I maybe was a stalker. Yeah, just how appreciative, and that I don't know why something would stick in your head so long. I don't know why I could never let it go. Just an inner voice that was kind of always poking at me. But I think in life it's very important when people do such heroic things, and he probably never really knew what the outcome was or how it impacted our family, but I got to go see my grandfather before he passed, and he looked great when I saw him. So he changed how my memory of my grandfather was for the rest of my life, and I have a very pleasant memory of it. And I mean, there's no words for that.
We'd like to ask you your recollection of the day, if you don't mind sharing, Craig.
No, I don't mind. I'll run through what I can recall. Like he was saying, just fishing on the opposite side of the river. I was there with my brother and my dad and my grandfather. And I saw the man across the river catch a fish and fall and collapse. And he started yelling for help, like he said, and right away recognized what was going on. And I ran to the motorhome, told my dad that I was going to go over and do what I could.
Wow.
And he needed to, we didn't have cell phones back then, so he had to get on the CB and see if he could find some help to call the paramedics. So I took off my shoes and my shirt, and first thing was, you talked about the river being fast. I didn't think it was particularly fast myself. I mean, it was enough that I knew I was going to get dragged downstream a bit, but I just needed to start here so I could end up there. Swam across the river. I asked if you knew CPR or mouth-to-mouth, see if anybody could help. I knew nobody in my family was going to be able to help with that. And after that, it was just the training kicking in. It was trying to remember the steps that you had learned as part of the training, and never having obviously done it before. It was, okay, first I gotta make sure he's actually, his heart stopped. Then, oh yeah, is he actually breathing or not? Then is his throat clear? Find the sternum, and then, okay, I'm doing this myself, so it's 15 pumps to every 2 breaths. And after that, once I got started, I don't even remember thinking how long it was. It was just a matter of remembering 15-2, 15-2, and just the repetition of it. And I remember getting tired, and I can still almost visually see the fish flopping on the ground next to him. And just, like I said, just the repetition going on. And the paramedics, when they showed up, I was just so happy that they got there. I stopped, and they freaked out because they went to a frenzy right away because they needed to hook up their gear, and they weren't quite ready to jump in yet. And so that was my big mistake, was stopping too soon. But they jumped in and took over. The next day, well, it's kind of the dark side of it, but one of the things I didn't tell you during the training was that I'll call it blowback, where the breath that I breathed in got pushed right back at me, and I remember making me gag, and I'd be getting sick later on that night because it bothered my stomach. And then we went to dinner that night, and the town of Big Pine, I don't know if you've know it, it's off the 395 highway up there. And it's a small town. It's even smaller now than it was, or smaller then than it is now. And there were only 2, maybe 3 restaurants in the whole town. So we went to dinner at one of the restaurants, and my brother and I were in a booth waiting for our food, and there's these older ladies in a booth next to us, and they're just gossiping and talking about what I had done. And it was the weirdest thing because they were focused on the river too, and about how fast it was. And so they were going on in the story, and I'm just listening to them thinking, well, they really don't really understand what happened, but you know, that's fine. The local fire chief came in looking for me because he was like yourself. There wasn't, like, I didn't stop and write my name down or anything, and they took him and took him to the hospital, so no one asked me anything. But he guessed where we would be, and he came to find me. And he was very excited to find about the school because I had the training, the CPR class was here at St. Genevieve. At the time, we every year we took what we called mini courses. And one year I took bowling, another year I took racquetball, but the year before I had taken CPR. And for me it was, I was a Boy Scout, and I took a lot of lifeguard training courses, but that was only mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. And my family, my parents, my grandparents, they didn't live a particularly healthy lifestyle, and they were all smokers. Every adult in my family was smokers at the time. So I knew it was just really a matter of time before one of them had a heart attack. And I didn't want to be the guy standing next to him, sort of like what you felt, I think. I didn't want to be that person standing there going, I don't know what to do, and watch them suffer like that. So I took the course just so that I'd be able to step in if I had to, and I was really only thinking about family members mostly. But it was a theme for me of when you see somebody needing help, you just do it. You do what needs to be done. And it was very much that day for me. I don't think of it as particularly heroic at all. I was never in any danger. I just did what needed to be done. Somebody needed to do it, and luckily I was there to do it that day. It was more God putting me in the path than it was anything that I really did it special. I was just happened to be there and knew what needed to be done, and I was able to do it. And then we were talking earlier about, I think I met him the day after because I was fishing and I was so exhausted I was actually sleeping next to the river. And I remember I had a hood up and I was laying back and I woke up and there's these 3 men standing over me, scared the crap out of me. And but it was him and his brothers, I think. I'm not sure who it was, but they came out to thank me the next day. So that was when I found out that he had actually survived, but I didn't know how long or if he was able to take on a normal life, which I still don't know exactly how long he lasted, but I'm just glad I was able to help. That was really all it was for me.
Impressive.
I actually do have one other memory of it.
Sure.
It was about 2 months later, I'm sitting in homeroom here at school, and they're doing the daily announcements, and the principal starts telling about this letter that they received from the fire chief, and he starts reading the letter and this describes what had happened on it. Right away I was like, oh my God, they're talking about me. And then he said my name about halfway through, and the entire class, including the teacher, all turned to look at me and just stare at me like, what did you do? And oh my God, it was so embarrassing. It was weird. The weirdest moment to have them all look at me like that. Yeah.
I have it here.
The news article he wrote? Oh yeah.
You have the article?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to open this up to questions. So if any of the students, any of the classrooms want to come down and ask questions of any of our guests, now's the time to do so. But I'm curious because we have some many 16-year-olds right here watching this. Not a lot of 16-year-olds would jump in a river, especially one that's moving fast, and go to save someone, even if they know CPR. Were you different?
I don't think so. Like I said, it was, I knew it. I had taken the course intending to maybe use it if I ever had to, and this was a situation where I had to. There was nobody else to do it. None of the adults knew what was going on. It didn't matter how old I was. I knew it, I could do it, and it needed to be done. It was that simple.
So when you said to your dad and your brother, I'm going to go help this guy, I'm going to swim this river, they were, go for it.
I don't remember my brother's reaction, to be honest. My dad, I know, he was scared and because very nervous about the whole scenario and about trying to get help to come. And I think actually they might have driven away in the motorhome because the CB didn't really connect anybody, and they drove to find someone who could connect. I was busy, so I didn't pay much attention to that. But I remember my dad, afterwards, he was very proud, of course. He was the one who actually would talk about it more than anybody. But that day, he was very scared about what was going on because he didn't know what to do and how to help, and just felt helpless is really the problem that he experienced.
Okay. A lot of 16-year-olds today, and we talk about this all the time at St. Genevieve, sometimes even when they know the answer to a question in class, they don't necessarily have the confidence to even raise their hand, let alone jump in a river, swim it, administer CPR. Do you have any advice for today's young people who are hesitant to become all they can be?
That's a hard one. I found myself in a situation where, like I said, I had the tools to do what needed to be done, so there was never really a question about doing it or not. It just needed to be done. The river and jumping across, that was just, it was just a step in the process. And I think it was, if anything, it's find, you know, I got the training intending to use it someday, if it ever came up, and I hoped it never would, but it did. And I don't know how to tell a 16-year-old to stop being nervous, because I am today still nervous. You just gotta take the step, because ultimately your fear is probably worse than anything, and once you get past that, you realize you were probably afraid of nothing that made a difference anyway.
Thank you. Questions? Are you coming with a question, or are you coming from Mike? Have you administered CPR since then to anyone?
No. I work for a hospital network, and I've been in a situation where I've had to like catch someone who was passing out, but never actually had to provide any kind of care. I'm not a clinician at all. I'm a finance guy. I argue with insurance companies.
Anybody have any questions for any of our guests? Okay. Well, then I'm going to say thank you to our guests. And I know you're a teacher. Any advice that you want to offer our students? Anybody who's watching?
Well, I like to think of myself as being an efficient person, but as I mentioned before, 40 years to do something isn't very efficient. But I do believe wholeheartedly that this had to take the process it did, and it had to find its way to you, and you were the one to be able to put it all together. And this was the right time. This is when this was supposed to happen. This is when we were supposed to find him. So.
And I have a feeling, you know, when I walk this campus, I call it holy ground. And there are moments in life when I think that they are anointed by God. And I think this is one of those anointed moments that we are all here together tonight. And I'm really grateful that both of you, because you know, either one of you could have said, no, just give us emails and we'll do this privately. But the fact that you were willing to come here and make this a lesson for our students, you've provided us with a lesson that we'll always remember, a night we will always remember. And so on behalf of all of us Valiants at home and here, I say thank you to all of you for being here tonight. We're going to end tonight with some music. We, every year, part of what we do at St. Genevieve, we have a theme. And our theme this year is the comeback, because we've been behind computer screens for the last year, learning online. And so we've changed a bit. And so we're trying to bring back, we're asking God to help us come back, the spirit of St. Genevieve, the valiant spirit. And so our theme for the year is the comeback. And you certainly are helping us with that theme. we have a song that goes along with that, and I'm hoping that we're going to hear the Spirit from you, because I'm going to ask all of you to sing the theme song, and then we'll end with our alma mater. I don't know if you still remember it or not, but if you do, join in.
I was actually trying to. I know like a couple verses, but that's what I was trying to get.
We'll have the words there on screen if you want to join us when we sing our alma mater. And of course, I think we've added a fight song since you were here, Craig. So you may not remember the fight song, but it's pretty easy to learn as we go. So are we ready to sing? I don't know. I'm worried about you guys. All right, let's stand up. And let's come back. Oh, there's our maestro right there.
Let's all sing together.
Yes, every voice.
Every voice.
Knows this song.
It was March. Let's come. In a quarantine of days, then we found
Can barely hear you.
Let's come back.
Come on, Valley. Come back. Oh, you're barely trying.
Then the Lord came to our rescue. Beautiful His Christ brought you in. Now you might have died. He restored us, and He did. Time for praying. Let's come, mighty valiant. Come back, mighty valiant. Come back. Sing. Then the Lord came to our rescue. Beautiful divine. But if I hadn't brought you in, then now you might have died. Time for praying, thanks to Jesus, back here in the rain. Let's come.
Okay, band, we're ready.
We
Okay, that concludes our evening. Thank you for watching, all of you who are on live stream. Let's say thank you one more time to our guests this evening. A big thank you, and a welcome back to our hero, Craig Johnson. Also, I know that is KABC still here? KABC News came to, oh, they left? Oh, because they wanted to talk to them. Well, hopefully we're going to make the news tonight at 11. And hopefully they don't cover us singing the comeback song. Have a great evening, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.